Hello, my dear students. Welcome to my class. I, Dr. Swati Pandya, welcomes you. We are continuing the chapter 2, Sexual Reproduction in Flowering Plants. Today we are continuing with abiotic pollinating agents. They are showing wind pollination and water pollination. First of all, we'll start with wind pollination. Wind is a very easy mechanism, very easy medium just to transfer pollen from one place to another. The pollens which are found here in these plants, they are very light, they are non-sticky, and even the stamens, they are well exposed. They are easily dispersed through wind currents, and large, often feathery stigma, they are found. In this diagram, we are able to observe all these things. Here, the pollens are carried by wind currents. Then, this is the female, this is the stigma where the pollens are got collected on the feathery stigma. So here, this is the diagram which is showing the wind pollination. The wind pollination can be seen in many plants. The examples are, some of the examples are given here. Corn cob, as we have just discussed right now, they have also feathery stigma and the pollens are light in weight. Then certain grasses, then wheat, sugarcane, all these they show wind pollination. And mostly the males, they are on the topmost position of the plant and females are at the lower position. So next diagram, here it is clear that this is the male inflorescence, which is also known as tassel, and here the female inflorescence, which is also known as cob. So these corn cobs, they are shown here, and this is the silk, the hairy structure which we are able to see many times when we have a maize cob with us. So this have its own importance. So students, in next slide we are discussing about water pollination. Water is another medium which is used for pollinating, transfer of pollens from one place to another. And actually the pollination by water is quite rare in flowering plants, as it is limited to only about in 30 genera only, and in that mostly monocotyledons they are included. So water is required, that is why very few of the species they opt for this type of pollination. Here water is a regular mode of transportation for male gametes, and among the lower plant groups such as algae, bryophytes and pteridophytes, they are showing such type of pollination. It is also known as hydrophily. This term is the optional term which is not given in our CBSE book, but sometimes it is used, hydrophily. Now let us see some of the points which are related to water pollination. The male gametes among lower plant, algae and bryophytes and pteridophytes, they travel through this water medium. So water medium is must for pollination to occur. Another point, it is showing some examples like Vallisneria, it is the best example and it is important also. Then Hydrilla. Hydrilla must be known to you. So these two examples, they are coming from freshwater bodies. Another example is marine sea grasses. For example, Joschera. So here the italics name they are written and they are highlighting the scientific names. So you should remember these names. So one of this diagram, the upper diagram it is showing Vallisneria and the lower diagram it is showing the Joschera. There is a difference, though they both opt for water medium only, but their method is a little bit different. Few examples are from water hyacinth and water lily also. Here the pollen grains, they are released on surface of water. So here on the surface of water the pollination will takes place. So students, we were discussing about Vallisneria and sea grasses. First of all, we'll discuss about Vallisneria. In Vallisneria, the female flower reaches the surface of water You can see here in this diagram, this is the female flower, which is written here pistillate flower. So this word we are using for female flower. So here it reaches the surface of water by the long stalk. This is the long stalk. This is the long stalk. So it coils, and whenever pollination has to be made, it moves to the surface of water. So here the male flowers, they are released on the surface of water. So here these are stamens, staminate flowers. They are actually submerged, but the pollens which are released, they go up to the surface of water. So this is water level which is shown, and here the male flowers, they come in contact with the stigmatic surface or pistillate flowers, and the pollination is made. Next example is of sea grasses. In sea grasses, female flowers remain submerged in the water. So this diagram, it is showing the submerged, actually the grasses, they are found at the bottom level of the sea. So sea grasses, the female flowers remain submerged, and the pollens which are released, they are released inside the water itself. In some species, pollens are ribbon-like also, long and ribbon-like. But here, the sea grasses, they are shown. In both marine and fresh water, the pollens, they are protected from wetting by a mucilaginous covering. This is an important point because the pollen grains, they has to be come in close contact with the stigma only. So they are actually covered by this mucilaginous covering. So students, in both water pollination and wind pollination, the flowers are not very colorful, and they even do not produce nectar because no requirement is there. The method is very simple, and it comes under abiotic pollination. So students, we have discussed about the two, and now we will discuss about biotic pollination or biotic pollinating agents. Mostly, I would like to ask one of the question. Have you ever visited any of the plants surrounding your area? You must have definitely seen certain insects, certain bees, many of the colorful butterflies which are moving surrounding any of the flowers which are present in your surrounding areas. So what they move for? Mostly they are maximum helpful in pollination, and the pollinating agents, they are included here. They are the pollinating agents, they are these insects, bees, butterflies. So here the colorful flowers, they are required. So angiospermic plants mostly which are having very colorful flowers, they all are included in animal pollinated plants. So here basically the main characteristics of the plant is colorful flower. Flower may be of various size, shape, color, but the beautiful attractive flowers are always present for animal pollinated plants. So flowers are very large, colorful, they have good fragrance, and even they are rich in nectar. So honeybees are the best example. They make honey by visiting different flowers, and that is why they absorb the nectar, they take the nectar. The first diagram, it is shown here, the first picture, it is very much clear, which is showing a honeybee. Even some of the plants, they are having beautiful inflorescence to make the insects or other animals attractive and highlighted. Flowers pollinated by flies and beetles, they secrete foul odor to attract these animals. So these are some of the important specific characteristic feature. Flowers provide rewards to the animals which are visiting them, because just the animals have visited the flowers, so they has to be rewarded. Suppose if The animal pollinated plant, in them, the pollination is done by bees, butterflies, other flies, beetles, wasps, ants or moth. Then this type of pollination, it is known as entomophily. But if the pollination is done by bat, it is a different example. Here the picture is shown, third picture is showing the bat pollination. Mostly Kigelia is one of the example. Then the bird pollination is done, it is known as ornithophily. So second picture, it is showing ornithophily by a hummingbird. What are the characteristic feature of pollens here? So pollens, they are sticky and even they have spines. Right now we are very much familiar with the picture related to coronavirus. So this coronavirus, it is having the studs, and which is helpful in settling down wherever it goes. So pollens are having also same of the type of features. They have spines surrounding them, and various spines shape, size, their thickness, it vary from species to species, but pollens, they are having spines. So pollens are sticky and spinous. The examples which are coming under this animal pollinated plants are, first example is Amorphophallus. This is a underground plant, and here the flowers are up to 6 feet height. Another example is Yucca and moth. Let us discuss about them in a little bit detail. So these are some of the floral examples. The tallest flower of Amorphophallus, right now we have discussed, about 6 feet in height. And another example, Yucca and moth. Here, mostly the moth and the Yucca, they cannot complete their life cycle. This is a very good combination of both the species. They cannot complete their life cycle without each other. How? Let us see. The moth, it deposits its egg in the locule of ovary, and the flower in turn, it gets pollinated by the moth. So both are dependent upon each other. Even the larvae of the moth come out of the egg as the seeds they start developing. So this is a wonderful combination and symbiotic association, rather we can call in our biological term. So it is a good symbiotic association example. So students, we have discussed about some of the pollinating agents today, and we will end our session here. I hope you understood very well. Let us revise the topics. Abiotic agents, they were including water and wind pollination. Here the flowers are not much attractive, but the animal pollinated plants, they were having a very attractive inflorescence. So this is one of the major difference. Okay. So let us end this session today. We'll meet soon. Bye bye.